Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with Ali Sohaiki ahead of his pro debut against Connor Walsh. How are you doing today?
Sam, mate, how are you?
I'm doing good. And how excited are you to finally make that pro debut?
Yeah, been a long time coming. Uh, Everything I've dreamed about since I've started the journey.
Exactly. And you are coming off of a unanimous decision victory against that Dame Bolton back in September. That must have felt nice to get that hand raised for that final time.
Yeah, felt good. That's when I realised like there's not much left now.
Yeah.
It's time to turn over. Yeah.
Exactly. And did you know going into that last fight that if you won it, you were going to go into that next level?
I've been thinking about it since the start of 2024, to be honest, because
Yeah,
I felt like the start of 2024, the penny finally dropped. Where I fixed the things that I needed to fix before I turn over. Um,
exactly.
yeah. And I thought, the coaches were saying, have a couple more and we'll see where we are. And then, yeah, here we are now.
Exactly. And you did only have one MMA fight in 2024. What are you looking at for this year?
I actually had two. I had
Or did
two
you have to?
fights. So, yeah, I fought. So I was always trying to it's hard, it was hard for me to get matched. Most of my fights in the amateurs have been like on like, some of them was on like a few days' notice, some of them was on like a week's notice. It was very rarely I had a fight where I had a proper camp for it. Um, I had a fight. I fought Sahil Khan in June 2024. Um, Beat him on decision, and then I had the rematch with Dane because that was the
Yeah.
only fight I could get. Dane was the only guy who was game enough for it. Um, yeah, and then so
Mm.
that was two fights last year that I had.
And what are you looking at for this year? How active are you wanting to be?
I want to be as active as possible. I always want to be as active as possible. That's why in the amateurs I took fights on late
Yeah.
notice all the time, and I've had times where people have pulled out on me on like the Thursday of fight week. Um, at a point, there was a point where I had more pullouts than fights. People pull out on me than fights, but hopefully that doesn't happen in the pros. Um, yeah, so I'm hoping this year I can get at least four fights in, 4 or 5 fights.
Exactly. And you are
Yeah,
starting off against Connor Walsh, someone who has just recently,
Connor Wales.
oh
Yeah,
well, sorry.
yeah.
Um,
I'm mates with Connor Walsh now.
and how do you feel like that fight will
Yeah.
take place? Like, do you feel like it's gonna go on the ground? Do you think he'll stand and trade?
If he wants to stand and trade, it's going to be a bad day for him.
Yeah,
So it's it's going to finish. However, I'm not going to go in there with a thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to force this to happen. Whatever happens is going to happen naturally.
and you have been able throughout your amateur career be able to also get some titles. That must have been a nice feeling to get the arm raised and be able to get like the Voodoo Championship around your waist.
Yeah, yeah. So I've won one at flyweight and I won one at bantamweight in Budo. Uh, Same as Paul Evans. Paul Evans was a guy I
Yeah,
looked up to when I first started. Paul Evans was one of the OGs that I wanted to be like, and he was 2-0 pro at the time. He had a boss amateur career. He won the Budo bantamweight belt and the featherweight. So he was double champ as well. And then I won the Kingdom
yeah,
European title at 61. I took that on a week's notice as well. Um, yeah, so good times and hopefully more of that in the pro game.
exactly. And
Yeah.
you all, like you're saying, you have been taking these fights on that short notice. Does it feel like that shows the organizations that you are here, you are ready whenever? If you do get that pullout, give you a call and you'll happily take it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm never out of the gym. There's never a time where I'm not training. It's like I'm in camp all the time. I always train 2, 3 times. I don't need to have a fight date to keep
Yeah,
myself motivated or in the gym. It helps having a fight date, definitely, but
but it's not
I'm
necessary.
always working hard regardless. Yeah, regardless. I'm always in the gym. Like,
And how do you balance your training as well as your everyday life?
I make my everyday life work around my training. There's no other
That
way. There's no, if you, when you wanna, the goals I have, where I want to get to, that's just how it needs to be.
I was gonna say, do you feel like to be able to do big stuff in the sport, the sport is your life, basically?
Yeah, yeah, there's no other way about it. Like, there's no other way around it. Um, like I've had so many jobs where I've worked jobs where it was like almost impossible to
Yeah.
work that job and train full time. So I've ended up legging the job just so I can stay at this full time because this is what I want to do. This is my goal. This is what I want to make a living from, and
And
I
how
will make a living from.
exactly? And how did you get into this sport?
When I was a kid, I loved boxing, and guys like Muhammad
Yeah.
Ali, and yeah, and so I was in and out of the boxing gym, and but I was always fascinated with grappling, so I always did say I want to try jiu-jitsu, and then I had a friend, Aaron Robinson, and he was one of the head coaches in Aspire, um, so he said come along, and I tried it, and I never looked back.
Yeah, and you
And
do train at Aspire, is that like currently?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
how has that been for your overall development in this sport?
How's it been? From from the moment I walked in there, like I just knew like this is my tribe, and then onwards from there, it's like I get the help I need all the time in there.
Yeah.
There's like when the improvements are constantly being made in there. I'm constantly being told what to do to improve, and they're not just like look watching me and like if I make a mistake, I'll get pulled up on it. You know what I mean? I'll get told
Yeah.
what I want to do, how I want to improve for this camp, what I need to do for the next few weeks. Do you know what I mean? I still get told that now, 7 years into my MMA journey.
And how big do you feel like the MMA scene is just now, with the fact that it's just going to get even bigger come the UFC is coming to the London in March? It is just bringing more eyes onto the sport.
Yeah, it's massive now. I mean, it's only the UFC's only been around for what, 30 years,
Yeah,
and like look at what, and it's not even just the UFC now. You've got boss promotions like the PFL,
yeah,
um, new promotion, the GFL. One championship which was massive. It was everywhere. It was when I was in Thailand training a couple months ago, and that's all everyone was watching. One championship. Like it was like the UFC was massive over there, but that was even bigger. So it's still like we think the UFC is the biggest thing around, but over there it's one. So it right now MMA is booming. I think it's the biggest. It's not the biggest sport in the world right now, but it will be
and
eventually.
how is being able to go over to like Thailand and be able to have that experience training with the UFC caliber fighters?
It was a good experience, yeah. Really good experience. It was good to get different training and train in the sun as well. Training in the sun, that was nice.
Something that doesn't really happen often in the UK.
No, you turn up to the gym and you're sweating already, so you're nice and flexible and ready to go. Whereas here, like you're freezing in the winter, aren't you? And you're taking 20 minutes just to warm up, get
And
going.
one and once you get the victory here, how are you going to celebrate?
I'm gonna I'm gonna get straight back in. Um, I'm trying to get a second match right now. I tried for the end of April, but I don't think they agreed. So I'm still looking, but I'm gonna stay active. I'm gonna stay ready. And I'm not gonna like sometimes I I take the piss, go too far
Yeah,
with the eating and that, but I'm not gonna do that this time. This time I'm like I want to be that guy now who's ready to take a fight at 57 key on like a week's like 2, 3 weeks notice if I can. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, like those fights at amateur that I took late notice was at 61 key most of the time. Catch weights 60 key like that. Now I'm gonna stay ready. I'm gonna stay fit in shape all the time.
exactly. You're always going to be in that gym. You're always going to be ready. If you're looking for a matchup, make sure to contact him. Well, maybe if you want a bad day in the office, make sure you contact him because
Yeah,
he's going to go in there, he's going to get the finish, and he's going
yeah,
to show the world come your fight night, you're here to just make waves. Is
yeah.
there anyone you're wanting to shout out or anything else you're wanting to add?
Um, just wanna give thanks to everyone who's supported me. All the lads, they know who they are. My coaches, Dean, Phil, Liam, Joe Tonk, um, and my S&C coach, Charles. He's done a lot for me since I've worked with him. I've been on with him for 2.5 years. My numbers have been flying in S&C, like through the roof, and I haven't lost a fight with him yet. Um, yeah, 5 or 6 camps I've had with him, 5 or 6 fights, yeah. And want to shout out Tunnel Vision and Fight Game Management for everything they do for me.
Exactly. Make sure to check in again for his fight. It's got fight of the night potential written all over it. He's going to get that stoppage, and it's just going to be a great watch as well. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you, my man. Thank you. Shout out to you.